Hi guys, it's Beth here from Modernised Spirituality. So today we're going to be doing a video a little bit different to the videos that I usually do. This one's going to be more about how to let go of negative thoughts and negative emotion. It's more just a brief summary of how we can actually try to let go of those negative emotions that just linger and that are attached to our consciousness. I'll start off with the basics. You may or may not be aware that there's a constant inner monologue within your head. So for example, say if you're driving down the road and there is someone who cuts in front of you, you might not necessarily say something out loud unless you have really bad road rage, but in your head you're going to be thinking, what an idiot. This is your inner monologue that's constantly running. If you actually make yourself aware of the monologue, you'll find that it never ever shuts up. Even just if you're just sat eating your tea, you're thinking about what you're eating. Your inner monologue is saying, oh, this chicken's nice, and oh, these chips aren't very nice, but it's not actually you, it's just your inner monologue. That it's just your consciousness that's perceiving each thing. This dialogue in your head, it kind of just comes up with assumptions for you rather than allowing yourself to experience it and process it. It's very, very dramatic. So it's going to be the voice that tells you not to do something, or it's going to be the voice that's telling you that someone's a certain way. So if you think, for example, if you're with someone that you love and your inner monologue's like, oh my god, I love this person so much, they're really kind, they're this, they're that, and then that person does something that upsets you, your inner dialogue, it then says, oh well, this person clearly doesn't want to be with you, or this person is being this way because of this reason, and it's just overthinking in your head. If that voice was someone in real life, if that was a friend, you're not going to trust their advice if they're constantly saying one thing and then saying the other thing. In terms of negative thoughts, how does that allow you to let go of negative thoughts? So once you're aware of that inner dialogue, what I'd suggest is, like I say, the inner dialogue, it's with you 24/7. I would just start by taking a few minutes just to be aware of your thoughts that are going in your head. Don't try and resist them. When you're thinking about winning the lottery, for example, you're having a conversation in your head, or when you're in the shower and you're coming up with fake arguments with someone that you may have run into earlier on in the day and you have some negative emotions. You can observe it quite well in the shower, but then it seems like when we're back into reality, we're not just in that moment, then we forget that it is still there in your mind running constantly, and we forget that that's not actually us, that's just the voice in your head that's being overcautious about everything. So learning to distinguish between your actual inner dialogue and what it is you're feeling yourself, that's the first step. Side that's trying to protect you from things that might go wrong. A lot of the times negative emotion arises when we close off our energy centres. So if you've watched my video about the chakras, then you'll understand the concepts that we all have energy centres within the body, and the main one is your heart, really. So in your heart you have an energy centre. When it's open, when the energy centre's open, then you're allowing all of the messages, the guidance, the inspiration from the universe to flow through you. Just the energy can just flow through you really easily. When you close it off, or if you have blockages, the energy is always there, but it's just going to circle round. It's just going to go round in a circle, the energy, because it can't go anywhere because it's blocked off, because the energy centre is closed. So it's just sort of contained in there, which if you think about electrons, then the energy it's constantly around. The neutron, I did science a long time ago, I can't remember, but yeah, basically you've got the energy that just rotates around it in like a spherical fashion, if you like. So the energy is still there, but it's just lingering, it's just building up more and more, which is why you shouldn't suppress your emotions, because this is where your energy is just closed off and it's just sort of just going round and round and round, and it's just waiting to be released. And that's usually released as a negative emotion. When you do get negative thoughts, what I'd suggest to do is be aware of the negative thoughts identify where those negative thoughts are coming from, because every single negative thought will have come from a belief system that you already have, which will have been made up of past experiences throughout your life, or it could just be beliefs that other people within your life have sort of implemented onto you. So for example, when you was younger, it could have been a belief that your parents had that was obviously taught to you as a child. Once you understand where it comes from, then you know how to heal that aspect, and then you'll know how to process it. Say if you break up with your boyfriend or your girlfriend or whatever, and you're driving around the street and you see their car parked up somewhere, everyone will have had it at some point where they've seen something that sort of made their hearts fell into your stomach. So that sort of intense emotion will usually tie in when it's from a past experience that just hasn't been processed. With the example of an ex-boyfriend or an ex-girlfriend, it could be that you've not fully processed that part of your life is over. I'm not saying you should regret that it ever happened or try and forget that it ever happened, not at all, but that's just a part of your life that's been and gone. It happened and it was meant to happen, or else it wouldn't have happened at all. So it was meant to have happened, but that's not in the present moment, and you need to live in the present moment, or else you're never going to be able to get anywhere. But if you're constantly thinking in the past, you can't go back into the past and change anything. All you can do is be in the present moment. By being in the present moment, you can then change the past in terms of your perception of the past memories. So being in the present moment can technically alter the past to a certain extent, because you're altering your perception of what actually happened, but you're never going to be able to go back and redo that experience. You just have to accept it and let go. When these negative emotions come, allow them to be there, don't suppress them, because that will just, like I say, that will just bottle up the energy, and then you'll just end up, when there is a point when your energy centers open. So that could be, for example, if you did meet somebody else and you did start getting into a relationship and you've been closed off for all this time, and then you finally open up the energy centers and you open up your heart, then you're going to have all of this stagnant energy that's just been resting there, that's going to, it needs to come out some way. So it's not necessarily going to be an empowering, positive experience when you're storing it like that, because it's just going to have to be a quick release, which could be, it could be in a negative way, which then will cause a cycle, because in turn will create resistance. We create our own reality, so you're creating these events by resisting it, by that being your focus. Allow the negative emotion to be there first of all, become aware of it, try and find the source of where it came from, because then you know what to process exactly. When you think back to that particular memory in your head, try to remove any positive or negative emotion towards it. Try to think of it in a neutral light and level. I'll put a chart here as well so you can see how to try and get it to a neutral point and what the actual negative and positive emotions are and the feelings. You can tell when I'm thinking of an emotion, when I'm thinking of a memory and it's starting to close off my energy centers. I can feel it particularly in the heart chakra. You can actually feel your chest to become tight. When like your chest starts to become a bit tight and you can feel yourself tense up, that's when you're closing off your energy centers. So that's when you need to understand, you need to realise it, you need to open them up again. One of the best and easiest ways to do it is when you're thinking back on the past memory or the past experience that you're wanting to let go of, is take a deep breath through your nose, fill up your stomach first and then go into your chest, and then just slowly exhale, and you'll feel that your body starts to relax, which will help you to not associate a negative connotation with that experience or that memory anymore, because your body is relating to it in a more neutral way. And the more you do that, and the more that you try to see it from a neutral point of view, try to see the positive and the negatives towards it, and just know that it had to happen for you to learn a lesson. So it had to happen for, if it was something that you feel guilty for doing or ashamed of or anything like that, then that had to happen for you to become aware that you are feeling those emotions and that it's not in line with who you actually are. But you need to feel those emotions to be able to determine at what scale you're at and how to improve from here, so how to develop yourself from here. If we didn't feel any negative emotions, then we would never know how to improve because we wouldn't know where we stand, if that makes sense. So just to break down what to do when you're feeling a negative thought or a negative emotion so this is just a starting point. First off, becoming aware of this thought, separating it from yourself and just being aware that this is purely a thought, it's not actually you. Number 2 is finding the source of whatever it is that's bothering you. So you need to identify what you've gone through and what your belief is for you to feel that way. And then number 3 is to see it from a neutral point of view, try and remove any negative or positive emotions. And it sounds difficult, but it's really easy once you try to do it. Once you just imagine it in your head, just disconnect the emotions towards it and just see it as a neutral point of view from a different perspective. And then number 4 is letting go, so being able to process it. Once you become aware and you find the source, then it will be a lot easier to process it, because then you're actually breaking it down and you're thinking about it in depth rather than it just being a subconscious thought. So let go of it, allow it to come into your head, don't suppress it, just think about it for a little while. Do some breathing exercises while you're just thinking about it, and then just let it sort of glide past your mind. Just let it not bother you, just let it go, release it. And once you start using this to as many thoughts as you can, like if you just do it at any point, regardless of whether it's something that's causing you a lot of like negative emotion or just like the smallest little thing, just make a start by doing it. The actual situation you only have purely from your perspective, and usually your perspective is that inner voice, that inner dialogue that dramatizes everything. So it's usually not actually true what you're thinking. It's just based on something previous that's happened, or it might be based on social conditioning. Once you make a start on being aware is the first step. Just try and be aware of that inner dialogue and try to see that it makes you think in a certain way, and just understand that it's not actually you that's thinking like that, and you can change it. You've got the option to change your emotions and your thoughts and your beliefs. It's just being aware of your consciousness to be able to do that in the first place. So give it a go. If you do try it for a little while and you find that it's effective, let me know. If you need any help or any recommendations on programs that will go in a lot more depth as well, then just let me know. So that's everything. If you liked this video, please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!